The Knicks lost back-to-back games in heartbreaking fashion. Nets, Sixers, 1-2 in the East, and both games essentially came down to the final possession. Now the Sixers won last night by 5, and then the Knicks lost 2 nights ago to the Nets by 3. Last night you had to have. No Embiid, up by 10. They were winning for the entire game. And then the Sixers took over with 4 minutes left in the game. And I watched every single second of the game, and I went to bed so upset.
They're
20 and 21 now.
I think that the last 2 games, those final minutes, that's where superstars are made. That's where young players become superstars.
Close a fucking game, bro.
It's one of those things where it's like when you're playing teams that are better than you and you have a shot to win, someone's got to step up and become a leader of that team and make it happen. And last night
they got their
was
guy.
abysmal. Well, we thought he did, and last night they didn't step up.
Well,
so I think
I'm not mad at the way Randall played in the final minutes.
He was exhausted.
That's why
I'm not mad at him playing 41 minutes on Monday and then going on to play 38 minutes last night. What I'm mad at is R.J. Barrett's clutch gene.
Yeah, okay. That's why. That's why
he is 20 years old. He had a great look though. That 7 footer.
Feet away
that would have tied the game. Yes.
And that's why I think that if the Knicks are going to have any shot at making the playoffs the second half or keeping up what they've done, it's going to be R.J. Barrett who's going to take them to the playoffs the second half. It's not going to be Julius Randle because Julius Randle is already starting to look burnt out. R.J. Barrett needs to pick up some of this slack and start helping Julius way more.
Again, this was a back-to-back. Julius Randle played 80 minutes of basketball within 2 days.
A back-to-back with no Rose, a back-to-back with no Rivers. They had no point guard play last night in terms
they
of...
had Alec Burks playing point guard. He played
pretty well.
He played great last night. But, that is... It's different because the Sixers didn't have Embiid. The Knicks really, really needed Derrick Rose last night.
Well, you saw Nicolina tried to take the ball up the court one time, and Ben Simmons was like, give me that. You don't belong in this league. And then they had to give it to Burks. So, this is the only person with size and ball control.
Right. I think Frank played very well last night on the defensive end. He had some really good steals. He played closeout defense. But he took 4 shots in the air ball, 2 of them. What is this?
0 for 15 in his last 3 games is not a recipe for success in the NBA, and I like him. I've been an opponent for him, but Donovan Mitchell was the pick at that pick, and the Knicks will forever will be haunted by that, no matter what Frank Ntilikina goes on to do. Whether it's 6th Man of the Year, NBA championship, it doesn't matter. Donovan Mitchell will always be a better player, and it's always going to follow him through his career. There's no getting around it.
I agree with Thibodeau saying against the Nets that say what you want, it was good minutes. I agree. I think they called ticky-tacky fouls. He fouled out and played 16 minutes.
Yeah. It's not good.
What?
And Tibbs tried to save him too. Tibbs was like, he's playing really good defense.
He did, yeah, but
you can't do that.
I
don't care if you're playing against the 3 of the top 50 players ever. You gotta hold it together.
And it was the same problem Mitchell Robinson had a few years ago, where he was on pace to just obliterate the block record. But then he was only playing 4 minutes a game because he got found out.
That's another guy who they're missing right now.
They're missing. But we saw that Mitchell took that jump and learned how to control his body and not foul. What's going on with Frank? They're roughly the same draft class. I think were they same year or 1 year apart?
No, they're 1 year.
They're 1 year apart. So at some point you got to figure it out. You've had enough opportunity. The fan base goes crazy every time you get in the game and hit even a freaking layup. So you have all the opportunity. They're not rooting against you. They're rooting for you. Figure it out.
James Harden said, I heard those Knicks fans in the stand.
And they were at Barclays that night.
It's back, man. It's coming back.
They're exciting.
I don't even know what the hell I was going to say.
Man, it's been so frustrating because they've been so bad, so you're so happy that they're in these games, but it's getting to the point where, how long can we be happy that they're
close the game? How'd you lose last night? I don't care what fucking Tobias Harris did. He played great. He's such a good player. And he got snubbed out of an All-Star game this year.
Yeah. I also didn't realize that the Pacers are like in 10th place. Or,
Dude,
fuck them.
ever since
I'm
they traded
so excited.
LeVert just came back.
He
he's been
did.
playing well.
And I love Sabonis as a player.
The
He's a
fact
Nick
that
killer.
The fact they shipped off Oladipo was the dumbest thing they could have done.
I didn't like that.
I couldn't
move
believe
either.
I think the Knicks are going to. I think that's the guy the Knicks get
In free agency.
to bring alongside Randall.
I think they get him free agency. I don't think they get him in trade.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't.
I'd also clear house to get Damian Lillard.
But then you're back to they've done that before. They've cleared house. They haven't gotten the guy. They're back to square one.
Would you, because they've been interested, would you, for the right price, get Andre Drummond?
Yeah, I was somebody that said that was a good idea.
Right.
I would get rid of Mitch.
I don't know what the ask is, and I don't know if you would trade. I don't know if you would trade Mitchell Robinson to get him though.
I wouldn't.
How old is Andre Drummond? 29, 30?
He's older.
I thought maybe because he's been in the league.
He is 27
He's
years old.
27.
So maybe.
Okay, maybe, but I see a lot of potential in Mitchell
Bro, I
Robinson.
just searched this up on Google, Andre Drummond age, and there's a Google trivia question. Who has the same zodiac sign as Andre Drummond? These fucking astrology women are taking over the internet.
No, let's. Eric, can you guess one of the four?
What are the
players
four
that-
choices? What players are the four choices? And what random fucking actually
Wait, click on it. I want to
It's
see. who
very
it is.
random.
I want to see.
Well,
who
cool.
it is.
Okay, I'm guessing that Drummond is
oh, I didn't get it.
This is so dumb.
is Drummond a Cancer?
No.
I
But
get three.
Giannis is a Sagittarius. Interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
Drummond is
sense.
a Leo.
That makes sense.
He's a Leo.
Drummond is a Leo. What other Leo was in this section? So it's Giannis, who's a Sag. And there's three others. I want to see who. Ooh, he's a Pisces. Okay.
Wait,
Wait,
it
just
just
changed.
loaded. Hold on.
Who's a Pisces?
D'Angelo Russell's a Pisces.
Makes sense too.
All right, so Andre Drummond is a Leo. The other Leo. What?
Wait, what's up?
I don't. Oh my god! And then it
Wait.
changed. The question changed, and then it said, "Who has the same Chinese zodiac sign?" And it went, and it gave me horse and rooster. All right. Anyway, so Andre Drummond is a Leo, and another Leo. That was the answer. Was DeMarcus Cousins.
That makes a lot of sense.
Two
You're supposed to
Leos.
know that, right?
Who was born the same year as Andre Drummond? Lillard, Davis, Westbrook, Steph Curry.
Lillard.
Dude, Steph Curry's 33.
Yeah,
He's
no,
just-
he's
What?
Steph Curry's 33 years old.
Bro, he looks like
D.
a
Lillard,
baby.
27.
No, he was born in
30.
1990. He's 30, yeah.
It was Anthony Davis. 93.
Steph Curry's wife has never looked better.
Yo, wait, did you hear what
I
Clyde?
haven't seen her in
Did
a
you
minute.
hear what Clyde said?
1988.
during the OKC game the other night. They go, "What are you most impressed by 5-time All-Star Al Horford?" And he goes, "He married Miss Universe." That's it. That was,
Al Horford's not a bad looking guy.
but like he's a 5-time All-Star who's balling against your team that you're announcing, and
Most
that's
overpaid
And,
player
I'm
in
saying,
basketball.
and he's had the worst contract for 8 years, and the reason why he's been on 5 teams in his entire career.
yeah, absolutely.
Back to it.
Tobias Harris making
Okay,
the Sixers realize why they don't need overpaid Al Horford.
getting back to what we saw the last 2 months. Stop searching up fucked up shit.
I looked up Aisha Curry.
Oh wait, the glare made it look very different.
Yeah, what?
I did not see that at all.
Okay.
Going back.
Let me see the screen. I want to see. There's a glare.
I smell a divorce.
Oh my
No,
god.
it's because she has a new cooking show, and there's the money to be made. All right, going back to it though. All right, the last 2 nights, what I've seen,
To the Knickerbockers.
they've not having Derrick Rose has really hurt them. Not having Mitchell Robinson has hurt them. Foul trouble has hurt them. A guy I actually, Obi Toppin existing has hurt them. The guy that I think has played amazing is Nerlens Noel. Nerlens
Oh.
His
Noel
blocks
has
last
been
night.
he's been so good.
Really?
And I think the big reason, and you're getting good minutes from Taj Gibson. You are.
yeah.
And Bullock.
And, dude, Reggie Bullock has been shooting on fire. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Reggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie.
I think not having Mitch and having Noel as like the backup makes that tandem that much more dangerous.
Mhm.
When you can split the minutes, like Taj, all right, he gave you 10 points. Dope. Should Taj Gibson be getting like significant minutes on this team? No, he shouldn't. Austin Rivers is away from the team. He's expecting a son.
With his beautiful girl.
Beautiful. I think they're married. I think they're married.
I think they're married.
I don't know what they are, but
Girlfriend, wife,
she's perfect.
child.
I think it's his fiance.
Fiance. You're right. First 6 games of the season, everyone thought that Austin Rivers was like the Knicks savior, and now he's out of the rotation. So I wonder what his role is when they come back. I think the Knicks do something before the trade deadline, because I think Tom Thibodeau is like, I cannot put in Obi Toppin for 10 minutes in a game. He has done absolutely nothing. I hate shitting on him.
He's got jitters.
I hate shitting on him, and because I really like him as a guy, as a person, and I like love seeing him. Literally town over and Ossing for that year. He's 23 though. Like there's really no like waiting period like RJ last year being like, oh, he's right. The dude was 18. He's 19 years old. It's his rookie. This dude's 23. This guy's as our age.
He's a grown man. He's got the body for it.
My only waiting point with him is that it takes time in the NBA, and right now because Julius Randle's playing at All-Star level, he's not gonna get the minutes that he needs to progress where we want him.
I said that's a big reason why. At what point do you? And again, I don't think that you can evaluate a guy like Toppin after 41 games and games that he just does not play significant minutes in. But I haven't seen him shoot the ball once, so I don't know how he scored. Like he dunks, cool, and it sucks because the only reason why I can handle this is because if you pretend they drafted quickly 8 and Toppin 23, you're like, there's a little bit of justification. But that didn't happen. So, you couldn't have gotten Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, the guy that, oh my God. That's your point guard. You're wondering where the point guard help is. That was your guy. You fucked up again. Another top 10 pick that you probably screwed, but because you had 2 in the first round, Quickly's playing great. He started at the point guard position the last 2 nights, and he's played pretty well his first 2 starts.
Yeah, I understand why they took Toppin at 8, because there's a lot of factors.
He's the hometown kid.
Yeah,
and he's the college player of the year.
But to me, if you're going to pick up a coach, if Tom Thibodeau is your coach that you believe is going to get you to a winning franchise, wouldn't you pick a guy that like fits into his strengths really well? Wouldn't you pick like a defensive guy that needs to be built up a little? You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't pick a kid that is so lackluster on defense that it looks like sometimes he's wearing clown shoes and his feet get tangled up.
Ooh.
It makes me really scratch my head because even Blake Griffin was a better player than Obi Toppin. And until Blake Griffin was old and he couldn't jump anymore, he was thought of as only a dunker, a one-dimensional player, and he wasn't going to ever win a championship. So why would you go draft Blake Griffin light?
But he's signed with Brooklyn, so that's how he's going to get his ring.
Yeah.
My take on Toppin, and I was wrong. I was really excited about Toppin.
I was too.
I was too, because it was like a good story. It was like, oh, like I can't wait for him to thrive in New York.
I thought he was going to be like a Josh Smith type of guy.
Okay.
Or or Blake Griffin. Big dunker, rim protector, athletic, can run the floor. I've just realized now that Obi Toppin is stupid. Like, if you look at him, he doesn't look intelligent on the court, and he's definitely gotten in his own head, like last night when he didn't know whether to lay it up or dunk it, and it just went...
Yeah.
He hit the rim on the way.
I just don't think he's that smart. The smartest thing he's done all year is hold Julius Randle back from beating up
I was saying, the biggest contribution that Toppin has done is hold back Randle from a fine or possible suspension.
And I won't say stupid in terms of that, although I don't think it's a terrible word.
Calling someone stupid.
I think he more looks like a deer in the headlights. We see it with like NFL quarterbacks a lot, where the game looks like it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and he's afraid he's going to be in the wrong spot.
He's seeing Kobe Bryant's ghost on the court right now. I'm telling you.
But there's times like he's running on the floor. He should go in for an alley-oop. He's putting his hand up. The players don't see him, so he just backs up to the 3-point line when he should really circle through. It's like it looks like he's afraid to be in the wrong spot to mess up the flow. So he's trying to think about where he's supposed to be instead of just letting basketball play around him.
I totally agree. Like and not that like you think him as like a shoot first, but he is when it has the last 2 nights when he's had the ball in his hand, he's immediately looking like, how do I give it up? Like, like he's very much like, all right, I have the ball now. Like, who am I giving it up to on like a pass handoff, like screen pass handoff? But
early on, he was throwing those really high arcing threes, and some of them were going in. And then all of a sudden, he stopped making any of them, and he's just completely stopped looking for a shot to the point where I think he was actually a little surprised last night. He got such a good look at that basket for the layup dunk that we were trying to talk about in between.
He has the ability to get to the rim if he wants to.
Yeah, and I think it's the fact that he's scared to make a turnover. So he doesn't want to put the ball on the floor and try and make a move to the rim. Because if he messes up, that's a possession.
Put it on the deck.
Yeah, it's a possession you take away from Julius Randle.
Onions!
Or, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not one of those things where it's like his team to mess up. It's he needs to fit into the system, and if he doesn't, he's not going to play.
And I think we saw with Randall. I think Randall went a little more into isolation last night that I didn't. Again, not that he's not capable. I just think it really broke some of like the half court flow that the Knicks had. I mean, shooting 50% is very good, is solid in the NBA. But I just still think looking at like 12 for 27 on a night, like I think that just like looks bad.
It does.
And Randall missed his last like 9 shots too.
Yeah.
In that, like, dude, they were 4 of 18 in the fourth quarter from the field. And they missed 9 free throws. I mean, there was so much like that I was so mad about last night.
But you got to make that feeling of all these things went wrong and they lost by 6 points.
Yeah.
They just got to clean it up.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'm saying, and they need to close out games. Like it, even earlier in the year, as good as they played, they had at least 2 or 3 more wins because they're giving up late leads. Again, I'll say again, they had no business losing last night.
No.
They didn't. They had no business losing last night.
And I think that what we saw last night is what's going to happen if they do somehow get in the playoffs the first round.
Well, here's the thing. The top 10 make it. So I'm like, they're 7 right now. I think they make it in.
They have a shot, but my point is that any series they're going to play against anyone, the defense is going to be sink back from the 3, dare them to shoot it, and we'll see if they decide to make it this week. Because so far they have not been able to consistently shoot threes. We saw it last night.
Yep,
where everyone just backs right off.
Compared to the Nets game, for
And then-
sure. 2 nights.
And then Julius Randle tries to pull ISO because if he passes it to someone for the 3, they're going to have an open shot and either miss it or not take it and give it back to him. If they don't make threes, their offense has no capability of a half-court flow. There's no possibility for it.
Welcome to today's NBA.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Frank and Austin Rivers for Lonzo Ball.
You're going to need more.
Yeah. Well, he's a free agent, isn't he? He's going to be a free agent at the end of this year.
To close us off with the 3-point. I mean, guys like Reggie Bullock, Alec Burks. Alec Burks was actually my favorite signing of the offseason. I thought it was like 1 year, nice move. He's a very good player. He's very solid. But not that it's a lot. I got Taj Gibson attempting 3 threes in one game.
It's bad.
Not that like.
It's like when we used to have Quinn Richardson, like when he came back as like an old man.
Yeah.
And I was like, thanks for giving us like some morale and like some threes, but
Thanks for giving us some like nostalgia to come back.
Right,
and pretend like you're young.
but like Dwight Howard was bullying him last night.
There's the reason why Dwight Howard.
Dude, Dwight Howard is a
last night.
dick.
He
Oh
really
my
is.
God! And they were
He
saying,
complains about every call.
but they were saying like what Doc loves about it. He's such an instigator. It's just like like RJ Barrett got called on a foul underneath. Dwight literally just grabbed him and pushed him to the ground, and they called a foul on RJ. And RJ's like,
Because RJ was pulling.
Dude, just he bullied kids last night. And at 35, dude's in like in the best shape of his life. He looks fantastic. This guy was going to be a Hall of Famer.
But
like,
see,
as soon as he's eligible.
Dwight Howard's body is at the point where he can play 9, but he can't play 18. You give him 6 to 18 minutes a game, he'll be happy. You give him any more than that, he's out for 2 weeks with a back spasm.
But I think that's what's perfect in the situation he was in last year with the Lakers. And
this year
that's the thing with Embiid out, he's had to hike it up, but he's only averaging around like 15 or 16 minutes a game, and it's perfect.
And perfect why it's working though, because when he was the guy in Houston, it didn't work. When he was the guy in LA for those few years, where he was like the guy, he was the main center, it didn't work.
Well, they got to a point where he was not
Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington.
Yeah,
I'm saying
exactly.
he was not liked. People did not want to play with him. That was a big thing. I think he's realized, all right, and even he won a championship last year. He knows who he is now. I think he's content with taking a lot of pressure off himself and just kind of like in his head. I think it's like I have a Hall of Fame career, and now this is just kind of like icing on the cake.
I also think he realized a little bit his shit do stank. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he isn't
His
the
shit do
end all
stank.
be all. He wasn't. He was dominant, but was he ever the number one player in the NBA? And he always acted until like LA that he was the number one player in the NBA, and he acted that way. I think that goes. A lot of guys don't want to play with someone like that.
I think it's an interesting thought. Like if that Lakers team like was actually what was supposed to happen with him and Nash, because I think that's the biggest blunder and debacle over the last like what was like 10, was that 10 years ago already?
Was it?
When him and Nash joined in LA,
when
and
they-
it just sucked.
When they couldn't get Chris Paul.
I would say when I would say that's
Yeah.
R.I.P. What's his Kamish?
Oh,
Stern.
Fine, that's
David Stern.
Was it Stern?
David Stern.
Was it Stern? I don't know.
David Stern.
But it's just one of those things where I feel like we're seeing a very weird transition period right now between the young guard and the old guard. A lot of the people we grew up with that were like superstars are old as shit now.
like Chris Paul, but he's still top 5 point guard.
Oh, not this. And
We're gonna need another hour and a half if you want to talk about that.
oh man,
Then we won't talk about, but
I
Chris
don't
Paul
think-
top 5 point guard in the league.
What do you think? What do you think about Trae Young's lack of efficiency in terms of he's just been so inefficient, and yet
I never
good.
liked him that much, Trae Young.
Trae Young doesn't make basketball moves.
That's my point.
He's a chucker.
He's a big
And
chucker.
He's a chucker and a disher, and that's all you can,
And
just like the pizza guy. Chucker, disher.
Get him a job at Papa John's.
Exactly. You can do that. Knicks are going to look to get back to 500. They are at MSG for the next 4. Thursday, tomorrow, they play Orlando. Orlando, they stink. I mean, Aaron Gordon and
Vucevic.
Nikola
Vucevic.
Vucevic, they both want out. Aaron Gordon wants out. He wants nothing to do. But,
What
boy, remember fucking Terrence Ross, the big dunker,
Markelle Fultz.
old Toronto man, is a good player now. But that team is abysmal. And if Knicks got to win that one to get back to 500, to get back to 21-21, because they kind of like they play the Wizards next week, but then they also play Philly again without Embiid again, probably, but they're home. They should win that, maybe. Maybe they get a little bit of luck on their side, but at least I'm having fun watching them. There's a passion that the fans have again. Knicks are fun to watch. And they're just going to have to extend Julius Randle and bring in maybe Andre Drummond and some better company. March Madness, though. It's March. We're talking college next.